Good morning everyone, how you doing? Hope you're feeling a bit better than I do. I had a few tipples on the town last night with my mates. I've definitely felt better, but that's not going to stop me from talking about some records that I've got down here. And these days, if you look on YouTube or wherever, there's a lot of explaining going on. People spend like an hour telling you what the record sounds like, this, that and the other. I'm not going to do that. A, because I can't, and B, if I do that, the video is going to be really long and my iPad's going to be overflowing with gigabytes. So brevity is the key. Now, when I was growing up, coming up as a young lad in England in the late 70s, early 80s, well, obviously it wasn't like today. We could just go on the internet and have a quick listen to something. There are a few ways that you could listen to music or learn about music, and I suppose one of them's older brother, older sister, or a cool dad. I didn't have a cool dad, so that wasn't possible. But I had a cool mate called Stephen Oakley. Now he got me into the old punk rock because his older brother was an original UK punk rocker, and he had like this huge record collection. And after school we'd go around his house and he'd sort of bring out all the old punk records and would sit in his bedroom, and it blew me away. But before that, I was always into the heavy metal. That was my thing, and I didn't know it at the time, but they called it the new wave of British heavy metal. And I was about 11, 12, 13 when all that was going on, I suppose. And I might have been aware that it was called that, but I didn't care. I was just interested in the music. And now, the way that I learned about music in those days was the radio, Radio 1. Not Radio 1 in the daytime, in the morning, not the normal rubbish that you would hear on the radio, even probably now. But no, at night, after dark. And there was one DJ who was like better than all of them, and he played the music that certainly captured my imagination. I bet you're thinking, oh, he's talking about John Peel, isn't he? No, he isn't. He's talking about Tommy Vance, Thomas the Vance, TV on the radio. Now, he had a show on Friday night. It was called the Friday Rock Show, and I went to a hellish boarding school at that time, and so we weren't allowed really to listen to music. So I used to sneak a little radio, tiny radio, an earphone, sneak the radio into the dormitory with the other idiots, put the radio under the pillow, and I think it started at 10 o'clock probably, Friday night, and you'd try and tune in and listen to Tommy. And well, he changed my life really, because that show was the first time I ever heard Motorhead and tons of other bands, and a lot of the bands that I'm going to show you down here. And Motorhead, Love Me Like a Reptile, and that song, Ace of Spades album, that's like still one of my favourite Motorhead songs. I remember listening to it like under the pillow, all muffled, and like sounded horrible, but it sounded amazing. And that I couldn't believe it. I've never heard anything like it before. But I'm digressing a little bit, sorry, I'm explaining. But so I'm going to show you some new wave of British heavy metal records, and they call it the Nwobum, don't they, these days? Let's not call it that, it sounds stupid. Let's call it the new wave of British heavy metal. Take a bit of time, say it properly. I've got about 15 records. If you know about all this stuff, well, I don't think there's going to be anything sort of very unusual here. But anyway, let's just have a look at the records. And if you like the look of it, the name of the band, oh, that cover looks great. Get on Google, have a little Google, listen to it on YouTube, or you might find the record in the record shop. And give it a listen. So here we go. First up, oh, sorry, broken arm, still hurts a little bit. Let's get to it. So first in the pile, this one, Angel Witch. Angel Witch, by Angel Witch, and there's a song called Angel Witch on it. Look at the cover. This is a really like British sounding record. Remember I was talking about the old Wicker Man music, you know, the old folk from England. To me, this sort of sounds like a heavy metal version of pentangle. It sounds ridiculous, I know, but it has this like really typically British feel. It's kind of scary, even though the songs are really melodic. They kind of conjure up this kind of devilish atmosphere, and there's not one bad song on the record. So Angel Witch, nice Japanese pressing here with the obi, makes it sound so much better. You take this off, it sounds rubbish. Next, oh look at these lads, probably from Newcastle, somewhere like that. Cloven Hoof on Neat Records, about 1981. Neat Records put out like so many amazing records in the early 80s. Satanic glam, is that a thing? It is now. That's what I like to call it. And it's, listen to this, it's on the back, it says the warning: seek not to invoke demonic entities beyond the living. Unseen forces mankind can never hope to understand. In satanic pact, a soul giving unto hell, when time relents to death's command. England, 1981, Cloven Hoof. Next up, a famous band who went absolutely rubbish as soon as they went to America there. But before that, they had a couple of good albums. First one's okay, second one is masterpiece. Who am I talking about? Of course, the Leps. Def Leppard, second record, High and Dry, produced by Mutt Lange. So it sounds almost exactly like AC/DC, Brian Johnson era, I suppose, the production anyway. But great record. Bit weird artwork on that thing. Do you like it? I'm still torn on it really, but you can't deny the music. Def Leppard, second album, High and Dry, great. Next, oh yeah, how can you go wrong with a band called Fist and a record called Turn the Hell On? This is all about the song, this one. Again, yeah, Neat Records, 1981. Best song on this, maybe Name, Rank and Serial Number. Great song. I think the single's a different version maybe, but look at that. Fist, Turn the Hell On. Yes. Next, people say, oh, they are the best all-female band in the world or whatever. Why just not say they're the best band? What's all with all the best female band? Girls' School, first album, Japanese pressing, one of the best bands to ever roam this earth, in my opinion. Especially the first 2-3 records and the early singles. Girls' School, Demolition, yeah, check it out, Girls' School. Next, oh, is an epic, beginning with G. Look at that proggy cover. Bit obscure maybe this one, don't know. Gaskin, The End of the World, on Rondelay Music. A little bit of a minor player in the old new wave for British heavy metal. Put some good records out, but this is an epic, almost proggish, a proggish platter, they might say. Gaskin, End of the World. It's got a gatefold, but not going to get out now. Metallica, send these guys some money. You know what I'm talking about? Holocaust, The Nightcomers. What's this? It's on, can't read it, Phoenix Records, probably 1981, 1980. Heavy record. One of the heaviest records from this era, I suppose. But yeah, Metallica, ripped them off. Them and Diamond Head, never mind. Holocaust, The Nightcomers. Next. Now, you might have seen this record on those lists they do, the funniest record sleeves of all time, and this one comes up, and I'm like, don't put that on there, because it's like, it's such a good record. Look at that. I suppose it is quite funny, isn't it? Look at that. The Handsome Beasts, Bestiality, with old Gary, the singer. That's him there. That's Gary, not that one. Him. Gary's dead now. I wonder why. But I suppose you couldn't really get away with this nowadays, could you? You'd get banned from Twitter or something if you made a band and called it the Handsome Beasts and sang songs like Sweeties. Bit dodgy. But I love this record. It's really raw. So really underproduced, they might say. It's bluesy. It's on Heavy Metal Records. You can't really get a better name for a record label than Heavy Metal Records. Bluesy, heavy, funny cover. It's not funny. It's great. Bestiality. The Handsome Beasts from England in the early 80s. killer. Next, I saw this band in a little club in a small town, a small horrible town in England called Yeovil, and they were fast. Jaguar, Power Games. I've got the single up there somewhere. Acts Crazy. Fast, Furious, Jaguar, Power Games. Neat records? Yeah, neat records. Next, bit obscure maybe, I don't know. The Jameson Raid. Did they put out any records in real time? There's a lot of these collections coming out. This is the first one out of Germany. HR Records. What does it stand for? Don't know. High Roller. More punk, innit? Sounds like punk, new wave. There's not one bad song on it, especially the 7 Days of Splendor, It's a Crime, The Hypnotist. Look at these boys. Look at them. Like proto-turbo negro looking chaps, aren't they? But Jameson Raid. Just as the dust had settled out on the High Roller Records out of Germany. Great. Raven. I'm not going to choose the first album. I'm not going to choose the second album. I'm going to go with this four song, 12-inch Crash Bang Wallop. What a crazy band. High-pitched vocals, like maniacal, crazy arrangements, really fast. This is the 4-song record, Crash Bang Wallop. Oh dear, look at that. It says Crash Bang Wallop. Men's Lib protest song. What are they thinking? Well, I suppose it was 1981. The world was different back then. But 4 songs, straight to the brain. Great record. Next, Rock Goddess. I don't know. I'm going to sort of contradict myself now and just sort of say this is as good as Girls' School. Better? I don't know. Controversial opinion. They were so young. Drum was like 14 when this record came out. Produced by the guy, see, I'm forgetting his name. Same bloke who produced Ace of Spades, so it's got that sound on the drums. Vic Mail, is it? Maybe he did, maybe he didn't. Don't know, doesn't matter. Yeah, produced by Vic Mail. Powerful record. I suppose you can't do this without talking about Saxon. Wheels of Steel. Bought the single when it came out. Great riff. Saxon. Wheels of Steel. Still playing today? Still going? Maybe 2 versions. Biff's Saxon, maybe? I don't know. But yeah, look at that cover. Saxon. Wheels of Steel. What a riff. Next, bit of an obscure one, I suppose. Sledgehammer. No, I'm not talking about the right-wing Japanese skinhead band. I'm talking about this band, Sledgehammer, from England in the early 80s. Apparently they were sort of socialist anarchists, I don't know. But Blood on Their Hands, really melodic record, bit punky. Sledgehammer. Next, sorry, I'm speeding up now, aren't I? Satan. They stole the best band name, didn't they? Satan. Caught in the Act. Look at that cover. They're new records. They're still going. New records are almost just as good as this one. Satan. Caught in the Act. Not C-A-U-G-H-T, but the other caught. Clever. Next. Savage. Loose and Lethal on Ebony Records. I think the name of the band and the name of the record sums it up better than I could. Savage, Loose and Lethal. Next, you like Rush? Of course you do. You wouldn't be here if you didn't. They say this is like the new wave of British heavy metal Rush, and I suppose it does sound like Rush. Shiva, Fire Dance on Heavy Metal Records. Look at that cover. Mystical cover. Mystical music. Check it out. Shiva. Fire Dance. Shiva. Next. You like hardcore punk? Of course you do. This is hardcore punk, really, isn't it? Algie Ward from The Damned and his band Tank and their first record, The Filth Hounds of Hades. Raw as hell. Japanese pressing there with the obi. Looks beautiful, doesn't it? Look at those 3 wolves on the cover. I suppose they are the Filth Hounds of Hades, aren't they? There you go. Hardcore punk. Next, it's a funny joke. It's not really that funny. Someone asked me, Dennis, was you on it, Dennis? He said, what's the best Tigers of Pantan record? And I said, well, Dennis, it's the one with the tiger on the front. And we all had a laugh because they've all got tigers on the front. But of course, I was talking about this one, wasn't I? The first album, Wildcat, with the Wildcat on the cover. The only record they made with old Jess Cox on the vocals. Raw record. Tigers of Pantan. Wildcat. Next, oh, look at these guys. They weren't messing about, were they? I suppose in the 80s, this was as fast as you could go, wasn't it? 100 miles per hour. Vardis. I was always a bit intrigued by old Steve Vardis. He looks like Johnny Winter, doesn't he? You can see him. But it's not Johnny Winter, it's Steve Vardis. It's quite gutsy to put out a live album as your first record, and kind of badly recorded, but I thought this record was so fast. Well, 100 miles per hour when it came out. Of course now it doesn't sound fast at all, but yeah, pretty raw record. Yeah, 11 songs live, raging. We're getting near the end now, aren't we? Because we're on W. What can I do with W? White Spirit. Back when Yannick Gears was a young lad, and he's in this band. They've got a bit of a Deep Purple thing going on with the organ and everything, but I like that cover, don't you? Look at the lads there in White Spirit. So if you like the Deep Purple, like Fireball, songs like that, this is basically what that record sounds like, I suppose. White Spirit, first record. Neat records, probably, maybe, I don't know. Okay, compilations. They've got 4 here. This is the most famous one. Metal for Mothers. Wasn't this the record that was has the first Iron Maiden recordings on it? Sanctuary and Rothschild, maybe? It's got Angel Witch on it too, and Sledgehammer, just talked about them, and of course Captured City by Praying Mantis, one of the best songs ever written. It's a great cover. Again, compilation, Japanese pressing. This one. Now when I was about 11 or 12, I was in the newsagents in England and I saw this record, and it sort of, I thought it was really mysterious. A lot of people don't like this cover. I like it. It's, the record's called The New Electric Warriors, and it had a bunch of bands. I hadn't heard of any of them. Oh, except Vardis, I think. I'd heard of Vardis, but it has Turbo, Buffalo, Street Fighter, Stormtrooper, Dawn Watcher, Rab Stallion, Jediah Strut, Race Against Time. And I was like, who the hell are these bands? And I didn't have any money to buy it when I was 12, but about 10 years ago, I found this in a record shop here in Osaka, and I was like, oh, yes. And I finally listened to it, and of course, yeah, it was as good as I'd always imagined it to be. There's not one bad song on it, so this is a really underrated, bit of an obscure compilation from the era. The New Electric Warriors on Logo Records, which is the Vardis' label, I think. Okay, back to Tommy. Remember I was talking about Tommy Vance? Got 2 records here that I think they're both Japanese, actually. So this one is the Friday Rock Show. Yeah, it's got Spider, Diamond Head, Sweet Savage, Demon, Witchfind. Ooh, Witchfind. And this is just stuff that was taken from Tommy's radio show. Yeah, he wrote some notes on the back. They're a bit long, but there's a funny thing that he says at the end. He says, he's talking about rock music. He says, rocks come in all sizes, from a pebble to a planet. Remember that. Rock music occupies the same dimension. It's the music that matters. Tommy Vance, October 1981. Thanks, Tommy. You really did change my life. I mean that. Really sincerely. I don't know what I would have done if I hadn't have tuned into your show on a Friday night. This is another one. Metal Explosion from the same series. So, thanks for watching. Get on the internet if you want to listen to any of these records. Have a great day. Thanks, everyone. See ya.